I brought my kids to the holiday brunch. Dad sneered. This was supposed to be a good day. Why are you here? My son glanced at me. Should we go? I said, yes, now. An hour later, Dad wished he hadn't said it. I thought I understood betrayal, but nothing prepared me for the moment my own family laughed as I was publicly shamed. That day, I made a choice that shook their world to its core, and changed mine forever. My name is Jeanette, and I'm from San Diego. Here's a little secret: I make more money in a single quarter than most of my family sees in 5 years. I'm not saying that to boast, truly. I say it because I know exactly how they see me, or rather, how they don't see me. They don't see me as the person who quietly paid off my brother's debt during his messy divorce. They don't remember that I covered 3 semesters of my cousin's daughter's tuition when financial aid vanished. And they certainly don't acknowledge that I've been silently paying the property taxes on my mother's house every single year. No. To them, I am just Jeanette, the one who thinks she's better than them. Why? Because I don't have kids. Because I live in a sleek, glassy high-rise overlooking the bay. Because I don't ask them for a single thing. They wouldn't dare say it to my face, not usually anyway, but I knew the thought festered in their minds. And last Saturday, that ugly thought finally, brutally, spilled out into the open. It was my grandmother's 90th birthday, a sweltering Sacramento afternoon. The backyard was packed, plastic tablecloths billowed in the breeze, kids sticky with cake darted between legs, and a Bluetooth speaker blared a playlist that hadn't seen an update since 2012. I'd flown in that morning, straight from an intense pitch meeting in LA. First class, of course. I slept the entire way. Not a single person asked about my trip, or my meeting, or anything at all. I'd been there for perhaps an hour. I made polite small talk, dispensed hugs, complimented the coleslaw. I was sitting near the end of a long table, sipping my lemonade, when Madison, my brother's eldest daughter, walked over. She didn't hesitate. She just dropped the grenade. She thinks she's special because she's childless and rich. Just like that. No preamble, no context. She said it to no one in particular, but loud enough for every single ear at that table to catch it. And then, she actually smiled, a smug, self-satisfied smirk, like she'd just delivered the wittiest line of the day. My own mother, sitting directly across from me, started to laugh. A loud, booming laugh that she quickly tried to smother with a napkin, but the damage was done. A few others chuckled along. I slowly scanned the faces around me. Not one person looked uncomfortable. Not one single soul spoke up. No one said, "Madison, that was out of line." The air went still for me. I felt a cold, clear clarity wash over me. So, I stood up. I didn't say a word. I walked over to my grandmother, bent down, kissed her cheek, told her happy birthday, and then I just left. No scene. No dramatic storming off. Just done. The next morning, I woke up early. The San Diego sun was already bright. I made coffee, opened my laptop, and logged into the college savings accounts. I'd set them up years ago, 5 in total. 1 for Madison, 1 for her younger sister, 2 for other nieces, and 1 for my cousin's son. Every single month, money had flowed into them automatically, quietly, without fanfare. They were all on track for 6 figures each by the time they graduated high school. By 7:42 a.m., every single account was empty. By 8:05, my phone started ringing. My brother. Then my cousin. Then my mother. Madison sent a text that simply read, "Wait, what?" followed by 5 question marks. I didn't respond. I blocked her instead. Then, I went for a walk, bought a latte, and turned off my phone. No one had ever heard silence from me before. They were about to find out just how deafening it could get. By Monday, my mother had left 4 voicemails. Each one grew more frantic, more bewildered than the last. I watched them transcribe on my screen, line by agonizing line, like a slow-motion car crash I couldn't look away from. What happened to the college accounts, Jeanette? Call me back. Are you okay? You left Grandma's early and now the money's gone. This is about Madison's joke, isn't it? Don't be ridiculous. And then, the sting, you can't just punish the kids, Jeanette. That's low, even for you. Even for me. That one stuck. Like I was the one who had made things personal. I spent that afternoon on my balcony, phone off, a glass of wine in my hand. San Diego was cool and breezy, and the chaos felt a million miles away. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like the family wallet with a full stop. By the way, if you're still with me, still wondering what happens when a family finally pushes too far, you know what to do. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. There are always more unbelievable stories like this coming your way. By Tuesday morning, the emails started. My cousin emailed first, the subject line a hopeful plea, just want to talk. He wrote a lengthy paragraph about how grateful they were for my help over the years, how his son was counting on that money for college. He insisted he didn't agree with Madison, that kids say dumb things sometimes. Said they were all just joking. Then came my brother's email. Longer. More defensive. He argued Madison was just a teenager, that I had overreacted. He reminded me he was struggling financially, that Madison was expecting to go to Oregon State next fall and now everything was up in the air. Then, the familiar sting again, he threw in a line about how he always knew I'd pull something like this eventually. I didn't reply. Then, something utterly unexpected happened. That evening, my cousin's wife called. A real call, not a text, not a voicemail. I let it ring out. Then she texted, "Hey, Jeanette, I know you're upset. I would be too. I just want you to know that we appreciated everything you did, even if we didn't always say it. You didn't deserve that. I hope you'll come around eventually, but if not, I still wanted to say thank you." It was the first honest thing anyone had said since the party. It wasn't groveling. It wasn't guilt-tripping. It sounded like genuine honesty. I didn't respond, but I didn't block her either. By Wednesday, my grandmother called. Her voicemail was short. "Jeanette, I love you." That one, I saved. Meanwhile, my brother grew more desperate. He sent screenshots from Madison's college portal, detailing tuition deadlines. He even asked if we could have a mature conversation. I couldn't help but let out a dry, bitter laugh. Here's the thing, until now, I wasn't angry. I was done. There's a crucial difference. But suddenly, with the money gone, everyone remembered who I was. Not just the one with the cash. The one they counted on. The one who never asked for thanks. The one who flew in, smiled politely, and never made a scene. That version of me didn't exist anymore. And they were just starting to realize it. By Thursday, the messages started shifting. They weren't real apologies, just dressed-up excuses pretending to be one. That's the family way, never say sorry without coding it in blame. My mom finally texted, "Your brother's a mess. Madison's crying. You know how teenagers are. This is all just a misunderstanding." A misunderstanding? As if her booming laugh hadn't been the loudest. As if it was just some harmless comment, and I'd somehow misinterpreted being mocked in front of 3 generations of my own family. Then she added, "Let's not let one comment ruin years of family." I didn't answer. What I desperately wanted to say was, years of what? Years of me showing up, quietly helping, swallowing every backhanded comment like it was part of the family ritual? Instead, I let her sit with the silence. That afternoon, Madison sent me a voice note. She didn't even type it out, just recorded herself crying. I didn't press play. I blocked her on email next. Then came something I absolutely didn't expect. My Uncle Gary called. We'd never been close. He's the kind of guy who says grace at dinner with one hand while secretly texting on his phone with the other. He left a voicemail, too. He said he'd heard what happened and that he'd never been comfortable with how the family talked about me behind my back. He said he always told his kids I was the one they should be looking up to, that I'd done things on my own terms, and maybe that's what made them so bitter. Then he said something that truly stuck: sometimes people don't appreciate a bridge until they've burned it. He hung up after that. Didn't ask me to call back. I played that voicemail 3 times. Not because I entirely believed him, Gary isn't exactly known for his moral backbone, but because it confirmed something I hadn't fully admitted to myself. This wasn't just about one cutting comment from Madison. This had been building for years. I started remembering things. Like when I paid for my mom's roof repair, and she told everyone the bank helped her out. Or when I flew Madison and her sister to Disneyland 2 summers ago, and they told their friends their dad surprised them. Or the time my cousin needed a lawyer, and I covered the retainer, and they claimed they figured it out somehow. I wasn't just excluded. I was invisible. But now, suddenly, stripped of their safety nets, I was the only one they could see. I thought maybe the quiet would be enough. I was wrong. By Friday, the panic turned into strategy, and they started trying a new, more manipulative approach, pretending to care. Friday night, I came home to flowers at my door. No note, no signature, just a slick, overpriced bouquet that screamed guilty money. I didn't even bring it inside. Left it on the floor of the hallway and stepped over it. That night, around 10 p.m., I got a notification from Venmo. My brother sent me $50 with the caption, "For coffee. Sorry about last weekend." I stared at it for a while. It was so brazenly weird, it actually made me laugh. $50 from the man whose daughter called me a walking ATM. A man I had personally bailed out of debt when he defaulted on his car loan 3 years ago. I declined it. 2 hours later, I got a DM on LinkedIn from someone named Rachel Haynes. I didn't recognize the name at first, but the message gave it away. "Hi Jeanette, I'm Madison's college counselor. I was hoping we could chat. She's deeply upset about everything that's happened and mentioned that you're a key part of her college plans. Would love a moment of your time." I sat there, rereading it, trying to process what I was actually looking at. They gave my name to her school counselor? And not just gave it, Madison had told this woman I was responsible for her education, and now they hoped I'd explain why I'd suddenly dropped off the face of the earth. I didn't respond, but I did click on Rachel's profile. Under education, I saw UC Davis. That made me smile for a second. I donated to their Women in STEM program 2 years ago. Quietly, of course. The next morning, it got even stranger. I got an email from an old family friend, someone I hadn't talked to in years, asking if everything was okay. She said my mom had told her I was going through a lot emotionally and to keep me in her prayers. So, now I was being painted as unstable. That's when it clicked, they weren't just panicking. They were trying to spin the narrative before I could. They thought if they looked worried enough, said the right things to the right people, they could frame this as me having some kind of breakdown. That way, if the family support dried up, it wouldn't be about them. It'd be poor Jeanette, so sad, so lost, so emotional. They weren't just trying to fix things anymore. They were trying to control the story. That's when I decided to flip the script. I didn't block my brother. I didn't respond either. I let it sit. Then I posted something. Not on Facebook, where they expected me to. On LinkedIn, where I knew they'd never go looking. Just a short update, excited to be redirecting some of my resources toward new scholarship projects for first-generation college students. Grateful for the opportunity to support those who truly value education, gratitude, and personal growth. 10 minutes later, I got a text from my cousin's wife, "Are you starting a scholarship fund?" I didn't answer. That afternoon, I donated $20,000 to a local program that helps single mothers go back to school. I sent them a message with the donation. This is in honor of every woman who got told she wasn't enough without a husband or a child. Use it well. Now, the silence wasn't mine anymore. It was theirs. The following week was quiet in the most satisfying way. No texts, no calls, just radio silence from a family that had finally run out of angles. Then, out of nowhere, my cousin Michelle showed up in San Diego. She didn't tell me she was coming, just sent a text that said, "In town. Can we talk?" I ignored it. She texted again an hour later. "I'm downstairs, not here to fight. Just want to see you." I looked out my window and there she was, standing by the coffee shop across the street, holding her phone in both hands like she wasn't sure what to do with them. I almost laughed. Michelle hadn't made time to visit me once in 5 years. I'd flown up to Sacramento at least a dozen times. She was always too busy to come down. I didn't go outside. I let her stand there until she gave up and walked away. That night, she sent one last message, "I get it now. I really do. We've been awful. Not just Madison. All of us. I think we all just got so used to you being the one who gave without asking. We stopped seeing you as a person. I'm sorry." I still didn't reply. And then something happened that made my chest tighten. My grandma sent me a letter. Handwritten. No stamp, someone had clearly dropped it off. Just one sheet of paper, folded in 3. "Jeanette, your presence was missed this week. Your absence is louder than your silence. I don't know what they did. I know what they're capable of, and I know what you've given to this family. I also know what it's like to be the strong one who finally says enough. I love you and I understand, Grandma." I didn't cry. I didn't even feel sad. I just folded it back up and placed it in the drawer with the other things I've saved over the years that no one knows I've kept. 3 days later, I got an email from the local women's college I donated to. They invited me to speak at a spring panel. They said they loved what I'd written about education, growth, and gratitude. They wanted me to tell my story. I agreed. The same day, I got another Venmo from my brother. This one was for $1. Caption: "Please don't shut me out forever." I was wrong. I didn't decline it this time. I let it sit there. A digital reminder of what it took to get them to see me at all. It had only been a week since that backyard comment, but everything had shifted. They used to treat me like a bonus feature. Now, they looked at me like I was the foundation, and they finally noticed what it felt like when it cracked. I hadn't cut them off because I hated them. I cut them off because I was done feeding people who bit the hand and then laughed about it in front of the table. And they knew now I wasn't coming back the same way. Not at all. About a week after Michelle stood on my street and left with nothing, I got an invitation in the mail. Not a text, not an email, a real envelope, thick paper, my name written in careful script. Inside was a card. "We're having a dinner. Just us. No kids, no noise, just family. We'd like to talk. Sunday, 6 p.m. Grandma's." No signatures, no guilt-tripping, just the ask. I set it on my counter and left it there for 3 days. Didn't say yes. Didn't say no. I wanted to see if they'd follow up. They didn't. Sunday came. I put on a plain black dress, nothing flashy. Drove up, parked 2 blocks away, took my time walking. The second I stepped into Grandma's house, I knew something was profoundly different. The usual chaos was gone. No casserole pans overflowing, no screaming kids, no blaring music. Just my mother, my brother, Michelle, and Grandma at the table. Plates were set. Water, not wine. No one was smiling. I didn't sit right away, just stood there, waiting. My brother was the first to speak. He said he was sorry. He said he should have said something at the party, that he laughed because he thought it would blow over like everything else. He admitted he was used to me being the one who swallowed things. My mother went next. She admitted she'd laughed because it was easier than confronting what Madison said. She said she thought I'd always forgive her, no matter what. That she never realized I might not. Michelle said she realized too late that the money wasn't the gift. I was. And then she said it, the words catching in my throat, you were never trying to be special. You were just trying to be seen. I finally sat down. We talked for 2 hours. No drama, no tears, just raw honesty that had been missing for decades. Grandma didn't say much. But when everyone else was quiet, she looked at me and said, "They've changed, but so have you." And she was right. They didn't ask me to turn the accounts back on. No one begged for a second chance financially. They knew better. What they wanted wasn't money. It was me. But they didn't get the old version. The quiet giver, the background checkbook. That Jeanette was gone. They'd spent years thinking I had everything because I had money and freedom. But all I ever truly wanted was to be treated like more than a resource. That night, I left with nothing in my hands. No leftovers, no guilt, no secret pressure to fix anything. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel used. I didn't feel hurt. And they finally understood what it cost to lose someone who never asked for much, except respect. This experience taught me so much about boundaries and self-worth. Have you ever had to draw a line in the sand with your own family, or felt like you were taken for granted? I really want to know what you think. Share your stories and thoughts in the comments below.